All right, so if you're gonna be moving to Portland, you're gonna wanna prepare yourself. And so in this video, I'm gonna be talking about some stuff that you need to know to prepare yourself for your move here. And of course, the #1 rule is to not be unprepared, so stick around. Jumping right in, I mean, there are a lot of crows here. No, I'm just kidding. But there are. Sometimes you see a lot of crows just bopping around, kind of creepily. But yeah, no, we have 4 seasons here, but they're pretty mild. And right now we are just starting to get into winter. It stays pretty relatively mild here throughout the year. You know, we do have 4 seasons. So in the springtime, you can expect a bunch of flowers coming out, nice mild temperatures. In the summer, you can expect some hotter temperatures and maybe even some heat waves. And then in the fall, it starts to cool down again. The leaves start to change colors. And then of course in the winter, it tends to get pretty cold. So I would say that's one of the seasons that you need to be most prepared for, because I don't know, about a week, maybe 2 weeks out of the year, occasionally we get snow, and sometimes that snow even turns into ice, or sometimes we don't even get snow. Sometimes it's just freezing rain, which is just rain that turns to ice as soon as it makes contact with anything. So all of these trees, this road, all the cars, everything's just going to be encapsulated in ice. So prepare yourself, get some ice shoes. Also be prepared for potential power outages. And that is going to be, you know, getting food, making sure that you can cook for yourself while there's no power and stay warm. But much more frequently than getting snow and ice up in Portland, it's pretty much just rainy. And so that will look like some drizzling throughout the day, throughout the week. But right now, this is a beautiful December afternoon. I mean, there's not even a cloud in the sky. It's pretty chilly, mind you, but actually, it's not that chilly, to be honest. I'm a little bit overdressed right now, and I might have to take this jacket off. Make sure when it's those rainy days, you get prepared by getting some rain boots. Waterproof footwear is pretty key for Portland, because if you're just out on a walk like this and the ground's wet, your feet are going to get wet, even if you're not stomping in puddles. So I don't want to talk too much about the weather, you know, if you're a regular watcher, if you're a regular viewer, but it's definitely a key component about living in Portland. So that's why I'm talking about it. But yeah, it's a beautiful day right now. Getting into the middle of December, who knows, maybe 2 weeks from now, everything will be iced over. And in the summer, you definitely do want to prepare yourself by having a home with air conditioning, because we do have some stretches of triple-digit weather. One time it even got to be 116 degrees or something. I think on that particular day, Portland was the hottest place on the entire planet, believe it or not. So on those days, which I would say they happen a bit more frequently than the ice storms and whatnot in the winter, but for that, you're gonna wanna get some AC. And we are seeing a lot more homes these days, even the older ones, equipped with some sort of built-in air conditioning, whether that is central AC or, you know, mini splits. Definitely, you're gonna want that in the summertime. Completely changing the topic, Portland definitely tends to be a sports town, not as much as like an LA or New York or, you know, those types of markets, because we don't have a Major League Baseball team. We don't have a football team, but Portlanders love their Trailblazers. So definitely be prepared to root for the Blazers, even if they're terrible. This year, I went to a Blazers game the other day and they lost by 42 to a team that's even worse than them. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to get dirty looks if you say you're a Lakers fan or something like that. So I wouldn't know anything about that though. You definitely want to be prepared for whatever the real estate prices are relative to where you are coming from. There's a lot of places. It's definitely above the national average cost of a home here by about 20-25%, but it is significantly lower compared to other places like LA, San Francisco, Seattle. It's higher cost of living than it's higher real estate prices than places like Boise or Nashville, or, you know, all these other smaller markets dispersed around the country. So just understand that. And if you are thinking of buying a house, just know that I would absolutely love to help with that. People find these videos all the time and they reach out to me when they're ready to buy a house. And if that sounds like something that you are into. Find my contact information. It's right down below this video. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, or you can just schedule a Zoom call with me and we can figure out if it makes sense to work together on that. So get in touch today. I'd love to hear from you. We are above the 45th parallel, which means that we are more than halfway between the equator and the North Pole. So that just means that in the winter time, it gets dark pretty early. So right around 4:30, 5 o'clock, you can expect darkness. So watch out, get your stuff done early, soak up the sun in the morning and in the afternoon, and don't expect a bright, cheerful evening, especially in the winter months, but that definitely starts to change as soon as the, what's it called? The winter equinox or something. As soon as that passes, the days start to gradually get longer and longer, and then when it's summertime, you got tons of daylight. Speaking of daylight, I'm getting blinded right now, but I'm just trying to soak it all in right now because in just 2 short hours, it's gonna be pitch black. It's also a pretty pet-friendly town. Walking the dog right now, and there's tons of dog parks all over the place. So if you're a dog person, expect to make some friends with some other doggies. Hey bud, what do you think of living in Portland? Is it good? Huh? Hey, Zamo. What do you think? Is this a good town for doggies? Oh, he sees another dog, actually. You also kind of got to understand how to properly pronounce things here, because people will look at you funny or laugh at you or just immediately know that you're not from here when you pronounce Willamette incorrectly. I don't know. I've heard people say Willamette. I've heard people say, I don't even know. It's the Willamette River. It goes right through Portland and it goes all the way down into Eugene. You can find it there. Willamette, okay? Then there's a street going through Portland pronounced Cooch. Believe it or not, it looks like it says couch. You might think it says couch, but it's Cooch. And then there's a suburb down a little bit to the south of Portland called Tigard. Say it with me, everyone. Tigard. There's a lot of other common mispronunciations of that word, but you got to learn it here and now. Tigard. Practice. Tigard. All right. So brunch is definitely a thing here. There's a whole culture around brunch in Portland. So if that's something that you're into, you got to plan ahead. Maybe pack snacks, because sometimes you got to wait if you want to eat brunch here, especially on the weekends. Some spots might not even be open during the week for brunch, but a lot of them probably are. But if you're going to go out for brunch, definitely make sure that you are prepared for a little bit of a wait and be prepared for an amazing culinary experience. All right. That's all I'm gonna say. It's worth the wait, depending on where you go. Proud Mary is amazing. Broder, Little Griddle. All these places you can expect a wait if you go, because they are pretty good. Speaking of food, I wasn't used to being able to get really good food at bars. I lived in LA and most bars are just like bars, especially like the divey bars. You know, if you are at a bar and it's late, like super late, you can definitely expect some good food, because there's a law here in Oregon that requires bars to also sell food if they're selling alcohol. And so if you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're not new to the channel, you've heard me say that before. It's just one of my favorite things about living in Oregon, because most of the bars take that seriously. I mean, pop into Tulip Shop. They have one of the most amazing burgers I think I've ever had. Same with Double Barrel. They've got pretty good burgers over on Division. A lot of different spots have themes. You know, they'll have a menu that you can order food off of, and it's like Asian inspired, or, you know, some sort of culinary theme, if you will. Just know not to sleep on the bars here. And speaking of that bar I just mentioned on Division, 12th and Division, okay, watch out for that, because if you hit that during any time where there's a freight train going through, you got to reevaluate your life, because that's going to be at least a 20, 30, sometimes even an hour wait, because I don't know, that's a train crossing for the big ass freight trains coming into Portland, heading into downtown or heading out of town. Take my word for it. Expect to just turn your car off, break out a podcast or book, and just wait it out. There's ways that you can get south of Division and Powell without hitting that train. So just go around and you'll be fine. But I've made that mistake a handful of times, and I always try to just avoid that street, just on the off chance that there is a a train coming. You also want to be prepared for pretty nice drivers, like almost overly nice. They'll do things that are illegal just to be nice, like stopping at a one-way stop when they have the right of way. They'll just say, oh, you just go ahead. And you don't know what to do because you're just following the law and stopping. And they're like, are they gonna start driving as soon as you start driving? I don't know what's happening. So sometimes people are overly nice here to the point where it kind of almost causes a safety hazard. So watch out for that, especially if you're coming from a place where it's like a little bit more assertive drivers overall. So people here tend to be a bit more laid back and courteous to the point where it's like overly courteous. You definitely got to understand that there's kind of a lot to Portland. There's the east side, there's the west side, there's suburbs, and all these different areas have different neighborhoods and different pockets that make each area kind of a unique place to live. And if you are really serious about looking for which part of Portland to live in, I would recommend checking out this video next, where I do a deep dive and a breakdown on the differences between the east side and the west side. Thanks for watching, and we will see you over there.